sexy fucking intro.
We need to get like a countdown going for like a minute before, maybe just so we can actually like start going live on time. Jordan will be here tonight. His computer is running right now. Speaking of,
Jordan's popping in.
Yeah, he's about to get in right now. But yeah, hey, there's Jordan. Hey,
you missed the best part.
Yeah,
I was watching. I got to rock out. Unless you're not talking about the intro.
No, that's all I was talking about. Absolutely.
So yeah, I've been waiting all night to start the episode so I can crack open a beer. So welcome to episode 52, Augustfest, I guess. I don't know. We were kind of looking at all the breweries releases and stuff like that. In the last couple of weeks, and all the pumpkin beers and Oktoberfest beers and Festbiers and shit are coming out already. So we were kind of like, let's celebrate early. We got beer to drink. So I don't know. It's my favorite style. We did an episode on them. I think it was episode 19.
Long ago.
It was long ago, 10 months ago. So I figure we revisit it again. It gives me an excuse to drink out of my Bellstein that my wonderful, beautiful girlfriend helped me win so long ago. Sorry, Drew. And yeah, I figure, we had a little bit of fun building recipes. The last time, it was just us. Which was, I guess, just last episode. That maybe we try to build some Festbier recipes or something.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Anyway, how you guys doing? Sorry, I was rambling.
No, I'm doing good. And as you said, this is one of my favorite styles too. It's one of my favorite times of year for multiple reasons. Like I said, we're a touch early. We're a touch early on it, but some of the beers are hitting the market, so it's getting to that time. Yeah.
I was going to say, are you conflicted here? Because, I know that you love the Fest beers and the Oktoberfest, but you also violently hate the pumpkin beers.
Yes. Yeah. Pumpkin beers can die in a fire, but Fest beer, like Oktoberfest, Fest beer, all those, love them. Absolutely love them.
This Stein picked a couple beers. Do I double up?
I saw you just open a Bell's Oktoberfest.
I was doing it anyway.
I'm
going to open another.
Grab the Bell's Oktoberfest. That just released yesterday?
Today.
Yeah.
Today? Yeah.
I went to the general store specifically for it.
I got a text from Joanne earlier that was like, because I was talking about it this weekend. I was running around the state brewery hopping with my wife and the Joneses, and I said, man, I got to come up with Oktoberfest because Brian booked a Festbier episode. And of course, none of the breweries that we stopped at had any. And then I got a text this morning that Bell's released theirs, but I also had 8 hours of meetings booked, so
yep,
I didn't get to go out and snag any. So I am drinking lagers and ciders and
nice.
Being jealous of you guys drinking Oktoberfest and other cool Marzen beers.
Brian, you've got Bell's, right?
We do have Bell's.
Oh, I'm so jealous. So it's one of my favorite beers, just period. I've got found a couple of these Tapestry Oktoberfest tall boys at Mega Bev. So cracking into that and giving it a shot.
Nice.
Hey, what's going on? What are you drinking tonight? What's everybody else drinking tonight? I'll ask in chat too. Some people. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, CN Lee, that reminds me we were supposed to talk about Homebrew Fest, right? We're in the stretch, it's 7 days, right? I think until we leave, or 8 days. 8 days until we leave for Homebrew Fest.
Damn, is it that close?
Is it 9? We're leaving on a Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, I'll be up there. Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon.
No, I said 8. I'm leaving Tuesday. Screw it. I'm going. I'm so excited. It's
clear the schedule.
It's 8 more sleeps.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Until we don't get to sleep for 3 or 4 days because it's Beer Fest. So,
I'm gonna try to. I poured 2 beers into this thing, and now it's foamy as crap. I didn't bring a napkin or anything to wipe my mustache with.
Just suck.
Own
Just,
it. Own it.
Yep. There you
You make
go.
me want to go grab my one of my many Michigan State Fair award-winning beer steins, but
Oh, you did with those last year. So tell us, I guess, about what your prize was for the State Fair in 2019 if you took a first.
If you took a first, you got a stein. You got a really cool Michigan State Fair beer stein. They actually had two different colors, and I got one of each. And then you got this really cool ribbon because this is a state fair. They don't do medals; they do ribbons, right? That's
neat. Which I kind of dig. I like the ribbons; they're pretty.
Yeah,
they're nice,
big,
heavy,
they're
but
gaudy, right? But they're still cool. I mean, they don't have the heft and the weight of a national homebrew competition medal and gravitas.
So fortunate.
But no, they're cool. And then I think we got some malt and some T-shirts and some other shit like that. It was really cool. Looking forward to it. Michigan State Fair judged yesterday or over the weekend. So I believe that award ceremony is near the end of the month or beginning of September. So hopefully the winners will be notified shortly of that. And then, of course, we've got Michigan Beer Cup was judged, and that will be announced a week from this Saturday, right? Yeah, a week from this Saturday, we'll have the awards for the Michigan Beer Cup. Super, super excited about that.
Excited.
And then just wrapping up, we just had Glint Cap, right? Well, Brian and I were lucky enough to get awarded some medals there.
Nice.
Our Perry.
It's kind of a
traditional.
I know. Maybe I should have. Jason took a silver. I took a bronze. It's sort of one of those competitions where it's not first, second, third. Although they do have first, second, third. I think if you score above a certain point range or something, you get a medal, sort of regardless. Kind of like the Siciliano's competition too, which I think that they're doing this year. Did I hear that, or did I hear that they postponed it? I heard some news about them, but I don't know if it
normally happens in February, and it was postponed.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
But I'll check it real quick, see if maybe they came back with it. But yeah, so good times. Competitions are back. I know you guys are, Brian, you're under a bunch of out-of-state ones, right?
I entered the Dominion Cup, which I think is being judged soon, and also the Valkyrie's Horn, which is a all mead competition. And so I sent in,
nice,
8 meads to that.
Wow,
pretty much anything I had 3 bottles worth of, because I've really never entered a mead into a competition before, and I've really only gotten into brewing them in the last year. So I kind of wanted feedback on those, and I think that getting my feedback on those will help me understand, like, I don't know. I think my meads are good, right? But I mean, how much mead do you guys buy commercially, or how much mead do you drink from other people besides me?
I was going to say you represent a good portion of the mead I consume in a year.
Sure. So. Yeah. So I don't really have a good vantage point as to like what constitutes like really good mead or anything like that. I've recently joined the Michigan Mead Coalition, which is a Michigan Facebook group. Basically, and they're going to be at Beer Camp this year, which is awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, hopefully they'll have like a traveling meeting over in the Kalamazoo area or Grand Rapids or Battle Creek or something like that, and maybe we can go hit up one of their meetings one of these times. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be cool. So yeah, I'm eagerly awaiting the results of those. Even if I don't medal, I'm good with the feedback. Just this once.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see. Like I said, I'd like to see that Glint Cap feedback. I mean, we entered damn near the same Perry. Just you entered modern, I entered traditional.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the same base stock, and all we did was put our individual yeasts in. What yeast did you use?
I used Saf cider.
So you used Saf cider, and I think I used Nottingham or something.
Yeah.
So.
Which screw you, because I think Nottingham's a terrible yeast, and so I don't like that
this
yeast at all, but I'm really happy for you.
No, I don't actually can't even say that I've used it more than in a braggot here and there because I'm not a fan either. I think it was just something I had, and now that I'm actually thinking about it, hell, it might have even been Windsor. It was leftover Lamalan yeast from the competition we did. So I had a big old bag of dry yeast packages, and I grabbed a couple and threw in there. And I honestly only entered Glint Cap because Brian was entering Glint Cap, and I wanted to drive up to Vandermill with him and have a cider. And I'm glad we did because we had an amazing night and we met all kinds of cool people who hopefully will be on the show in the near future. We met the bar manager from Jolly Pumpkin, whose name was also Brian, right?
It was, yeah.
Everybody's name is Brian.
It's a good name.
This owner of Puck Cider, Chris, who's awesome. I'm going to ping him and see if we can get him on the show soon. And then we went.
And I think Brian's opening. Well, I don't know if this is something we say on air. I think he's whatever. He's opening up his own cider at some point. So for all of the 10 people that are ever going to listen to this show, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really cool. More ciders, the better. I love ciders, so.
Could be 20 now because we're on we're in a podcast, right? If people have been following along on Facebook, Brian's posted a couple of times, right? We're in all the major outlets.
Apple
iTunes.
Podcasts, Google, Amazon, Spotify, maybe Pandora. I think they have like a podcast thing. Most of the major ones, but for sure Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.
And you've got all of our episodes out there right now.
I do. And then going forward, the episodes will come out probably the day after our live show comes out. Just takes a little bit of editing on my part, and then the funny thing about the podcasts is that I had to go through and sort of either remove our old opening, which was either sometimes super loud, non-existent, half cut off. And I have the new music playing during the intro and the outro, but we often reference like intros and outros that are only relevant to the live stream. And so I tried to make during a couple episodes, kind of like a, hey, sometimes we may reference, a couple things that actually exist now. But yeah. We're a podcast. So the great thing about being a podcast is, one, you don't have to look at us, which is a benefit for some people. And two, I know a lot of platforms like Facebook and I think YouTube right now, at least, unless you have Prime, don't let you, just shut off your phone and stick it in your pocket and still play audio, which all the podcast apps should do. So go find us on a podcast player. And I don't know, re-listen to our stuff. I've actually been re-listening to our episodes. It's kind of funny how much information I realize I don't retain as we're talking, because I'm so focused on trying to make sure everybody else is kind of having like a good time and making sure like the conversation's flowing and stuff like that. And I went back and listened to our like Lance Shaner with Omega Yeast, episode. And I'm like, holy crap. Like I forgot he said this and that. So it's kind of cool to actually go back and even listen to our own episodes, even if they're, even if I have to listen to my own like weird voice.
Right on.
Yep.
So aside from beer camp, all the festivals, yeah, I mean, what do we got going on in the near future? We said we're going to do beer camp. We're going to probably do some pop-up shows from beer camp. They ought to be fun and interesting, but probably at random weird times. So there may just be shit popping up on Facebook. And then we don't really have any other guests that we can announce right now. I know I'm working on a few. I think you've talked to a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, once Beer Fest calms down and life kind of starts to get back to normal after that, I think we'll gear back up with the guests and start lining some of that shit up. I know I want to reach out to Great Lake Cops, and I was going to reach back out to the Michigan State Fair folks after they do their thing and see if they want to come on and talk about their comp. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody else has any ideas or people that they know, things like that, that's how we get a lot of our best interviews. I mean, that's how we talked to Andrew Blake, is because I think Christine was her name, was watching the show and connected us. So if you've got anybody that you want us to hook up with, actually Lee McBain hooked us up with Ascension Brewing a couple weeks ago. That was really cool. So yeah, anybody that can connect us, that would be awesome. So Festbiers.
Well, before that, I gotta call out my mom.
Oh shit, I missed that, Connie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm usually the one to do that. I apologize.
Clayton's my nephew. I hope she's still watching. Hi, Clayton. Hope you guys are having fun. I saw your pictures at the beach.
Oh.
Wasn't even paying attention.
No, that's good. So yeah, Festbiers. So we've said that it's kind of our favorite style, but for you guys, why do you guys like it so much? Like what draws you to like a Festbier or an Oktoberfest, a Marzen?
I think for me, all year long, I put away I think we all do, right? Craft brewers are typically the hop heads or the IPAs, and especially in the summertime, crushing all days and Two Hearteds and all of the other wonderful IPAs that come out. It's just nice to kind of ease back down into something that's a little bit maltier, a little less hop forward, a little crisper. I'm actually super craving the lagers right now, so that's why I dig the Marzens and the Festbiers, and thankfully, I mean, you opened my eyes last year where I thought Festbiers were all spiced ales, and you proved me wrong on that one. I've been avoiding them for a long time, so
no, that's I would say like an actual like Festbier, as opposed to like what we would traditionally call an Oktoberfest. Your more German style Marzen. I like that lighter style, so kind of closer to what Bell's makes, or I'm gonna butcher their name, Weihenstephaner, I think it is from
Weihenstephaner.
Yeah, they make a Festbier, and that beer is phenomenal. But I like them because they're lightweight, but they're still full flavored. They're still crushable.
But is it better than Hacker Shores?
I don't know if I've had Hacker Shores. I've had Weihenstephaner, Polliner, Spaten.
Spaten's a big one. I think a lot of people, that's like their number one.
Yeah.
You like that, Jason?
For the guy that complains about shit that happens that a podcast can't see.
Yeah, right. He's over here signing shit.
Hashtag number one. Oh man. So yeah, they're just damn good beers. They're clean beers. They're
clean,
as much as
malty,
yeah. I think as much as we all bitch about winter when it's here, I love spring and I love summer, but about this time, after the second month of 90-degree days, I'm really looking forward to the fall days. It's like one of my favorite times of year.
The like 3 weeks or so of fall that we actually get here in Michigan.
Yep. So digging that and the beers that go along with it.
Yep.
Well,
so where did was it just a marketing thing? I want to know where did the whole pumpkin abominations come from?
I should have done more research coming into this episode into who brewed the very first pumpkin beer.
Yeah. Who do I have to blame? That's
when did you realize you hated pumpkin?
I think I was 3 years old, and I ate an entire pumpkin pie by myself. I think my dad tells me the story, he left me in the kitchen or something like that, and I was young, and I had pulled the pie down off of the countertop and just sat there, and I had it all over me, and I ended up getting super sick off of it, and ever since then it's just been nope.
So it's not that you don't like pumpkin pie. It's just pumpkin is that flavor for you that everybody has that one liquor, right? That they can't drink again. because they had just such a terrible experience with it. Like I'm Bacardi O. Shayna is 99 Bananas.
Yep.
You're apparently pumpkin pie.
Yeah. Pumpkin pie flavor is just all of it. Just, like, mm-mm.
So Buffalo Bill's Brewery in California in 1980 came out with.
Oh my god, I've heard this story before. I have heard this.
Pumpkin beer.
Fucking California, of course.
But the change is that over the years, the pumpkin ale has changed and modified away from Buffalo Bill's. Buffalo Bill's was a pumpkin centered beer with some spices, from what I read here, and now pumpkin pie is really
it's more about the beer. It's more about the spices now,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The basic.
So in fact, most commercial versions, and I even know this on the home brew side, a lot of home brewers and a lot of commercial brewers brew or release pumpkin beers absolutely have no pumpkin in it. They're just focusing.
Oh yeah,
spices. Yeah,
cinnamon, clove.
Which is what over the years of my wife trying to sneak pumpkin into baked goods throughout the fall, I have realized that it's not that I hate pumpkin in and of itself. It's just all the spices that go into like the pumpkin pie spices and. So, but it's just that mental connotation. Anytime I hear pumpkin, like I immediately go to like pumpkin pie and just turn something off in my brain.
Did I have you try my pumpkin my pumpkin spice mead? Yeah.
No, I'll try it because it's you, Brian.
I think it's coming up on a year old, maybe now. I think I wanted to have it ready like last year. I don't have a ton left, but yeah.
That's how I feel about smoked beers. And I know people at the club, they bring me smoked beers because now they know that I hate it. But I'm just like, I'll try it because
that's the problem when somebody finds out you hate something. Like, I'm gonna feed you more of it.
People always offer me fish and seafood and stuff. It's like, no, thankfully there's not much in the way of like seafood beers. There's like
except for the shrimp beer that we just.
Oh my god! Oh, I totally forgot about that. Jason, do you have any of those?
So I got really busy this week. I really want to make a post on this. So in our last show, of course, we didn't have a show last week because I was in California and all this shit's running around. But in our last show, we designed a coconut shrimp IPA, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Toasted coconut shrimp IPA for Sam and Travis from Ripjaw Media, who did our intro video. We are going to brew this beer. During the show, I somehow ordered a whole shit ton of shrimp for the beer. So here they are. This is one of 3 bags of Louisiana dried shrimp. I joke about it because I think I intended to order 1 bag, but I put 2 bags in my cart. And then I went back and I took 1 bag out and ordered them. And then 3 bags arrived.
So while you were drunk ordering shit on online here, instead of taking 1 out, you just added 1 back in.
Yes, that was my intent. So now I have 3 bags of which are 4-ounce size, which 4 ounces surprisingly is a lot of little shrimp. And anyway, we'll be using 1 bag of these in our Sea Gump IPA, Michigan shrimp beer, which we will probably get together. And I want to get together with the Rosses and brew this.
Yes.
Post Beer Fest.
I forgot we did Sabro for the coconut flavor. Yeah.
Yep.
Sabro,
we're using bergamot hops, which is a Michigan hop.
We're mashing with panko.
Yeah.
Adding panko for the crisp characteristic. So, all in all, I think the flavor of these is not horrible. It's not ultra fishy.
You tried one?
This bag's open.
Oh,
I actually, I have a large saltwater aquarium, and these are great because they're dried with absolutely no preservatives or additives at all. They're just 100%
fish food.
Dry shrimp. Yep. I'm I'm gonna be feeding these to my reef tank.
Nice.
But no, they don't taste bad. I mean, it's a salty umami flavor. That's
what we were going for, right?
Yeah, I actually think we can make this work in a beer. So
yeah. So Chris is saying, yeah, you can blame Travis for this, Chris. Who else?
So we should try. So it was fun designing a beer. I know, Brian. It's kind of set this episode up to do it again. We're going to talk about, kind of what goes into the aspects of brewing a Marzen or a Festbier, hopefully.
Maybe both.
Nothing fucking crazy. No protein.
No shrimp or
no
crocodile tail.
No. Let's. As it was fun, as fun as it was, laughing, joking, getting drunk, and it's going to be great to brew this, and then we'll make them come on air and drink it with us. I hope you guys are watching. I'm committing you.
Yeah.
If anybody,
Jesus, yeah. Thanks, Brandon. This is a great idea.
No,
it might not be. We'll see. We'll see.
No, somebody's doing this on air. That's
if anybody wants bottles of this, we'll try our best to make sure that we hand out as much of this as we can. Again, we're homebrewers. We can give away beer. We cannot sell it to you. But if you're anywhere within 20 miles, we'll probably do our best to try to shrimp gump you up.
And then whatever's left over will just get donated to the Rosses so they can enjoy it.
They do have a Keyser, so and I don't even want that keg back, honestly. So yeah.
So no, it was it was a blast doing that, but I would like to talk through like regular recipe design. So I'm looking forward to that. There was one other thing that just popped in my mind that I wanted to talk about before we got into that, but now I'm drawing a blank.
I feel like I've got a little bit of sacrilege going on here because I was not able to find Bell's Oktoberfest. However, I did find Founders.
Oh, Founders.
Oh, I love Founders Oktoberfest is so good though too.
But
is it $15 or
the Bell's Stein? I don't know. I got a 6-pack. I honestly didn't even pay attention to what I was paying for it. I got the 6-pack, and then I got 2 of these tapestry ones. And yeah, I don't know. I like the Founders one. I think I like it better than I liked the tapestry one. I feel like tapestry was a little more deep in its flavor, a little more
melanoid-y.
Yeah. Whereas the Oktoberfest, I feel like the Founders is kind of pushing more towards that flavor that I like in Bell's. I mean, the color is a little lighter, just a smidge than the tapestry was, but I like it. I think it's perfectly fine. It's worth picking up.
What I'm finding sort of in a lot of homebrew recipes is a lot of people, and I'm not against this. It's not what I personally use, but I've seen a lot of recipes with people using caramel malts in their Oktoberfest, Marzen recipes, and I think that you want the maltiness there, but not the sweetness. Like you kind of have to separate those. And I think like those caramel malts add a lot of like sweetness that I don't know if I necessarily enjoy when I drink a lager. I sort of want like off dry. I don't mean to like put like wine terms or something into this, but like
there is like a specific type of sweetness that comes from like this style of beer though, and I want to say it's that melanoidin flavor.
Yeah.
That specific, very very specific. But I was gonna say we're talking about recipes, man. Brian, fire it up. Let's.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm trying to remember back, and I'm almost tempted to pop up that episode 19 and look at it. I know that, I tried 6 different ones that night, and I want to say there were 3 of them that I wasn't really happy with, and it was because of that sweetness. That
I'm going to have to go back and look it up too.
Overly malty. Well, no, it's caramel malt sweetness. Like Brian said, that extra roasty sweetness just is off sometimes. Yeah.
Yep.
This is supposed to be a really good. easy drinking fall lager, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I think, and maybe I'm just kind of crazy here, but the flavor that especially specifically with like the Bell's beer or any of the lighter style fest beers that you can find, like Wine Stefaner, I associate that flavor to be a little closer to almost like a honey. So it's pretty bright. It's a bright sweetness. Maybe my palate's fucked up, but that's what I enjoy out of it. And I definitely get more of that out of the Founders Oktoberfest than I do the Tapestry. The Tapestry was deeper in its flavor, whereas the Founder seems a little bit more lightweight. And Bell's, I would say, is even lighter, although I haven't had it this year. I'm assuming it's the same recipe. Should taste the same.
I wonder too. This is something I've never asked, and we probably should have taken the opportunity to ask. But Bell's uses their house yeast for just about everything that they do. They've said specifically if it's not like a Belgian beer, it's probably their house yeast.
That's true. Yeah.
I want to use their house yeast to make like an Oktoberfest or like a fest beer this year. Now that I think about it, literally just thought about that. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
I was gonna say, Jason, you just used it, right?
I just used it to brew the 2021 Bell's homebrew competition winner. Yeah, sitting right there, and it killed it, man. It dried it out so nice. Actually, probably too much. That shit burned. Like Brian even told me when I told him I was using Bell's yeast, he was like, that shit attenuates like crazy, and it did. It chewed right through it. So,
what do you think your attenuation is? I have to calculate it out. What'd you say it went down to?
When I checked it today, it was at 10:08.
Oh,
did you add from what 1072? You said. Mm-hmm. Jeez. Yeah, I used a saison yeast and it got it down to 004. So that's like,
oh wow, yeah,
it's just dry. About there. It sounds like, yeah. No, it just goes to show that Bell's yeast is.
No, I roused it today, and I mean it's still working a little bit. It got a little cool again. Brian will give me shit because I don't temperature control.
I don't temperature control either, man.
I know.
You guys do you. Homebrewing's all about what works for you guys. And Jason wins medals. You win medals. Jordan, you won gold in Irish Stout at, Homebrew Fest in 2019. Yep. So yeah. I don't know.
So we're gonna use Bell's yeast.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. Let's do it.
And for the base malt.
So I guess it doesn't matter. We were planning on maybe doing 2 recipes. Are we doing Oktoberfest or Festbier?
You don't have it loaded in, man.
So I will preface what I'm doing right now. I just built a new computer, so I shouldn't crash anymore. I shouldn't just randomly leave the stream. So hopefully everything's better now.
It sounds like you've been messing with your mic a bit. You sound a lot closer, a little more intimate.
And I bought a new mic too, so
that's true. That's true. It sounds great, dude.
When you built the Virtuo with Bruce Smith, did you download all the modules?
All of everything that was relevant.
Okay.
Yeah. Bell's House Yeast. Their attenuation, I think, on the website is somewhere between like 75 and 82 or something like that. I don't know about their min temps.
72 and 82 at 84, but whatever. Yeah.
That's close enough. Yeah. Yeah, give it wider.
Yeah, considering the your experience, yeah. So we'll do, I think I left it out 100 billion, so we'll just say we use 2 packs because Imperial ships about 200 billion. Not that you're going to get that unless you're using it, straight up fresh, but good enough.
Yep.
Are we doing Oktoberfest or Festbier?
Let's since we're we more commonly drink Oktoberfest here in the States, let's start there. Maybe German Marzen.
I think Festbier.
It's
that freaking A.
Yeah.
All right. So we're using smoked peated
Yeah.
2-row.
A smoked Festbier, man. I thought we weren't getting weird with this.
I say we start with some sort of Pilsner.
Yeah,
or Munich, right?
Yeah.
So you can use Munich as a base, right? Like
I would actually do probably a mix of Munich and Pilsner.
Yep.
I think all Munich, either that or Vienna. I think those
Munich,
are all.
They're all pretty
typical.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Munich's going to be a little darker though, and that's kind of a characteristic of the, I guess, Oktoberfest style that we see here in the States. Is that the colors? Am I nuts thinking that, or is
no, not at all.
No, you're right. I mean,
okay.
Munich is a couple of degrees higher on the level on scale, and it does. And you're right. Most of the United States Oktoberfest beers kind of have that nice orangey color.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon seems to agree. Munich best malt.
Okay.
Brandon also thinks we should put cocktail sauce on the rim of
I think that's a great idea.
So
I think that's a great idea.
You take what Brandon says with a grain of salt sometimes.
Maybe we can put some of that around the rim too. Isn't there like a shrimp salt that we can?
There is. I still think I still like the idea of kind of layering it in Munich with either Vienna or Pilsner or both.
So how about some Munich and some Vienna? Is that what we're sounding like?
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Let's do like
now. Why Munich?
So, the Vienna in here real quick. I don't have we can't. Yeah, I don't have a particular. Let's use Fireman. I use
Fireman is, yeah.
So we'll adjust these, but so Munich malt. I like the tooltips on our brewing software because even without going through and researching deeply into each malt, the tooltips are enough just to kind of get you where you need to be. Jason's a big fan of trying malt, and if you taste some Munich 10, you'll get what the tooltip on this says. It has a very nice maltiness. Just a touch of sweetness and a slight orange color, which is basically everything you want for an Oktoberfest. Yep. So it's kind of the perfect malt. And I think that it still has some Littner value, so it can still convert to some degree without having to use like a ton of base malt with it. Then Vienna, full-bodied golden color. Vienna to me has sort of like a more like bready taste to it.
Vienna is known for its like biscuity, bready characteristics, which I think tie into this.
Fit great.
So I think Munich's can, when you go straight pure Munich, you can get a little bit sweeter because it is a little bit of a darker roast. Vienna gets us that bready flavor, and then kind of helps with color, I think, a little bit, lighten it up, brighten it up. So I would say Vienna has more depth of that biscuit bread than probably Pilsner.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Pilsner is going to start bringing in some possible, I don't want to say vegetal flavors, but we have more DME to deal with, I guess.
DMS.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I think that is probably an issue to some degree. I think that if you do a lot of reading, a lot of malts these days are so, processed and stuff that DMS isn't so much of an issue anymore. You'll see people brewing raw ales, no boil and stuff like that all the time, not really having DMS issues. In fact, I can't really recall the last beer, even in a homebrew scale I've tried, that has had any sort of DMS in it. So I'm not so scared of that anymore as I probably would have been, like
Yeah, I wasn't. I
um,
didn't mean it as a bad thing. I just
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think Pilsner. I don't want to say Pilsner malt has like a corny flavor to me. That's where I was going in my head.
Okay.
I see, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So imagine like, American light lager versus Oktoberfest and, the aromas and things that you smell and taste and like, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was more along the lines of Vienna gets us that biscuity, bready, uh, characteristic, that crisp characteristic, and Pilsner gives us more of a. I didn't say, but I don't want to say cream corn, but that's where my mind's going. But it's not. I mean, not necessarily. I like the Vienna split.
Is this ratio good?
I think I was actually just going to say when you had it 6 and 4 or whatever, I was going to say we should break them apart a little bit more. But yeah, I think 7 and 5 looks great to me.
Okay.
I mean, you can see
Now,
the color over on the left or on the right there. That looks about spot on. You
mhm.
know.
And the SRM scale, we can even go up
Yep.
a little bit, and I think that it will when it's finally brewed, because we have two decisions to make. One, are we going to do a decoction mash with this, and then two, are we going to use melanoid and malt with this? So,
Well, be one or the other.
I mean, you can do both, right?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just
Yeah,
that
you
the first
could.
one is typically supposed to add what the second one makes up for. Um, I'm sort of a lazy brewer, so my vote is going to be for a melanoid and malt, but but
I
I've
would.
I've made. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I would agree with that. I've done decoctions a few times, and while I actually I enjoy the process of it, just it does extend your brew day by a significant amount. Um, and puts in a bit more work on you, the brewer. And I've also used melanoid and malt, and honestly, I haven't seen. I've only used melanoid in like once or twice, where I've done decoction probably 4 or 5 times. So I have more experience with decoction, but I haven't noticed anything um, off-putting by melanoid and outside of maybe using too much.
Agreed. You go over. It's the same with any of those kind of mid-range roast malts, like even like honey malt and some of those others. You put too much in,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get it's gonna overpower quickly. Um, I'm
So
with Brian though, completely lazy, no interest at all in doing a decoction mash. Um, I would keep melanoidin probably around under 10% for sure.
Yep.
I usually use about 4 ounces.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the brews that I've done, I think I've used up to a half pound before, and I think that was too much. So I usually keep it around a quarter of a pound. Have we covered specifically what a decoction is in this?
No, I don't know if we have. Not this episode. I don't know if we ever have before, but you
Decoction
probably done it
mash,
more than any of us, Jordan. You want to kind
also
of go
known
over
as
that
pain
just a
in the
sec?
ass mash. Oh,
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jason?
I said known as pain in the ass.
No,
Go
yeah,
for it.
yeah. So I'll try to cover this, pretty high level. Um, Essentially, what a decoction is you take out part of your mash water. From what I've done is drain off a bit of the bottom of the wort and scrape off some of the top of your actual mash up to a few gallons or so, and then you boil that. Um, when you're first brewing, I always heard like don't boil your grains, don't boil your grains. Uh, but it turns out there's an actual style, a whole style of brewing beer where that's what you do. And
Mhm.
I've read articles where they actually just boil the whole damn thing. Like if you have a kegel, whatever, that you can actually just toss on your burner. I've seen people that argue just boil the whole thing for 15, 20 minutes or so. Now you're not doing a full like hour long boil or anything like that. You're only boiling to start releasing some of those melanoidin flavors. Um, and I can't recall what the chemical reaction is. Brian, do you?
It's a Maillard effect.
Maillard effect. That's it. Yep. Thank you, Jason. But yeah, so that's ultimately what you do, and then you take that, what you have just decocted, if you will, and re-add that back to your mash to step up your mash temperature. So there's multiple level temperatures that you can do. So you can do a single decoction where you boil a certain amount and then re-add that to your mash to bump up your mash temperature, or you can do that. What I think is up to 3 times is what's commonly referred to.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. The different different temperatures basically just activate different enzymes and
yes.
do different things to the malts. Mainly increase fermentability, but there are temp rests like protein rests and stuff like that um, just do different things to the mash. I highly recommend on reading up on step mashes and decoction mashes if that's something that you're interested in. There's no doubt that different things happen. Scientifically speaking, I mean, like something has to happen, right? Like you activate different enzymes, different things happen. Like whether it's detectable or not is the biggest argument, like in the homebrewing forums probably ever. So yeah, I don't know. I if you go back and read through like NHC gold medal winning Festbiers and Oktoberfest and stuff like that, you'll find that there's a lot of um, um, single. What's the word I'm looking for? There's some decoction mashes. There's some single mash, like no other steps happening. You know, um,
Single infusion.
Yep.
Single infusion. God,
That's
thank
it,
you very
yeah.
much.
Which is all I've ever
it's
done.
Literally right here on my freaking thing. But so yeah, I don't know. I've done both. I enjoy both. It sort of depends on what mood I'm in and how much time I have during the day. Neither are going to give you bad beers. I don't think either is superior. To my understanding, many breweries, aside the very, very traditional ones, in Germany, are doing single decoction now, just because the malts are so good these days that those extra steps aren't necessarily necessary anymore. But some people still swear that they are, and that's going to vary by maltster. Probably that's going to vary by equipment that you have. There's so many variables to making beer that you probably just have to go and give it a shot and see what works for you. So yeah, for this particular recipe, we're just going to use Melanoid malt because it's delicious.
It makes it easy.
And it does make it easy.
Yeah.
Our color is still just a touch on the low end. I'm fine with that. But if you want, we can swap closer to like 6 and 6 Vienna to Munich, and that'll probably bring it up a little bit.
I'm good with it the way it is.
Yeah, I'm fine. Personally, I like it to be on the lighter side for these styles. But then again, out of Oktoberfest to Festbier, I prefer the Festbier. So that's just me.
We're just doing single infusion, medium body. I bet sparge. I'm just going to put this here as it is, but
yep.
So we have mashing down. Nothing special there. We got to talk about bittering though. So traditional. So Galaxy.
Right? Yeah. No. Any of those German style hops. So like Hallertau. I'd butcher the last half of that. That one. Yep. Middle Frau. Yeah. Yep.
Herzbrucker is pretty common.
Yep.
Thing I've seen.
I was going to say Tet.
What
about Saz?
Saz.
I've never heard of Saz in a Oktoberfest, but I would try it. I don't know. It's I would try it. I would just to see what it.
I think my head's in the pilsners right now, but Czech pilsners. No, but I like the Holler Towers. Hollas.
Holla.
Pearl. You might be interested.
I've never used this in
German Pearl
in Oktoberfest. So
you know that'd be interesting. The alpha's a little high, generally speaking, but
no, go with it. Let's do it.
Sure, try it. That's part of the fun of brewing, right? Experiment. Throw something weird in there. Not that using German Pearl is really going to be, terribly weird, but maybe it is. I don't know.
You gonna do some whirlpool in here, Brian?
No, not at all. It worries me. Like, where do we want to try to be on the bitterness scale? Do we want like one addition early on? Do we want to try to add another one like midway through the boil?
I would go ahead, Jason. I was gonna say, like, out of that, I mean, I'm a sucker for just even numbers. We've got 75%, so I'd maybe throw one in at 15, or 75% of an ounce. But that's just me.
Using up that hot.
I love that. Yeah,
pretty much.
I'm with you.
You're not going to get much more bitterness out of it. You make it a little bit more spiciness on the
right, but we're still sitting at 22, which is anybody who's familiar with the bitterness scale is still way low. Or 10 min, 10 min works. Or we could even do 5.
Do 5. I'm doing 5.
Yeah, that works.
I like it right in the middle. It's my favorite spot.
Brian's OCD just wants everything right.
Don't make me add more Munich or Molinoid to get the color up.
Well, then your gravity is gonna go up. You gotta.
Is our ABV too high? Like,
I mean, here's
the thing. Bell's House is just gonna tear it up.
It's probably a little bit high, but as a home brewer, I'd really start. I know when we all started, I think we were all brewing the 7.5,
6.5. Yep.
But
that's almost perfect.
Yeah, a good 6% beer.
Yep.
I think is fine. I wouldn't go much lower than that.
All right. So for the podcast, because we have to be cognizant of this now, where we're currently sitting at is 5 pounds of Munich 10, 6.5 pounds of Vienna, and 4 ounces of Melanoidin. Single infusion mash. If you're using Beersmith, a light body. Batch sparge, so probably around. I selected full body.
I was going to say light body is going to drop the ABV a little bit, isn't it?
Oh man,
it's gonna raise it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Other way around.
Yep.
Oh man,
that puts us right at 6.
Do 5.5 pounds of Munich and 6.5 pounds.
Yeah. Yep. That's gonna darken us up a little bit too. Get our color to go up.
We said 5.5 and 6.5.
No, I'm sorry. 5 pounds of Munich and 6.5 of Vienna.
Our ABV is still not within our.
All right.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. So I think the reason that the ABV is much higher and the OG is much lower is because our yeast is so attenuative. So I think this is actually better. Yeah.
All right. So go back through for the podcast. You were running through the.
So we've revised 6 pounds of Vienna, 5 pounds of Munich 10, 4 ounces of Melanoidin, mashed at 148 for an hour. And then for the boil, you're looking at a half pound of pearl.
Half ounce. Not a half pound. Holy shit. Bittering with 8 ounces of hops.
So a half ounce of pearl at 60. Yeah, a quarter ounce of Pearl at 30, and another quarter ounce. Just use the rest of that 1 ounce bag at 5 minutes, and
All
and then ferment with Bell's house yeast because apparently it can. I want to see um, if they have a temperature.
preference.
Yeah, well, yeah, listed on like a let's see here, temp 65 to 72. So I wonder, um, I wonder if they ferment their lagers at higher temperatures. I'm really curious now. Like I want to know like what temperature they ferment their Oktoberfest at. So well, if we can find out, we will let y'all know. We'll dig a little bit. We'll ask some people. We know people. So I don't know. It looks like a good recipe. I would brew this.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, it's a it's one of my favorite beers to brew. It's very straightforward. It's easy. It's not complicated. I mean, unless of course you're going to decoct it. And then of course, it's not. It just extends your brew day. It's really like decoction. I was afraid to do decoction for a long time. I actually had to hype myself up to do it the first time because I thought I was going to fuck up my beer. But it's really nothing. I would actually suggest any home brewer that's out there, like, play around with it, try it, try doing a decoction, see what it see what it does for your beer.
Yeah, it's not going to make a bad beer. It's just it's just a different.
Yep, yeah. It's a more, I don't know if I want to say traditional way, because didn't they used to use decoction as a way to do step mash? Like, wasn't that how it was? I don't know. I might be just pulling shit out of my ass here at this point, but
all right. Sorry, I'm messing with the sharing properties here. We'll throw this into the chat.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I like that. There we go. There you go. There's your Oktoberfest recipe. Everybody can brew that and have it ready in time, just about in time for late September or so.
Now, how do you guys feel about lagering like extended periods of time? Like are you more like give it 14 days, keg that shit, throw it in the keezer, drink it, or are you like, yeah, I'm gonna, let my Oktoberfest sit for like 2 months, and then I think I'll put it on tap.
I always start out with I'm gonna brew this for the future, and give it the time it needs, and then probably 13 days hits, and I'm like, crash that shit and let's go. So
yeah, I was say I'm with Brandon here. It can lager while you drink it.
Exactly.
That's
you're speaking to my heart.
Yeah, that's not only that, but I've had enough, and maybe I'm just blessed with knowing a lot of really good home brewers, but I've had enough homebrewed lagers that that haven't subscribed to the whole long-term lagering period that tastes just fine, where I think you're good. If your process is tight enough, you should be able to produce a beer that's going to be pretty damn close. Like over time, yeah, it might make a difference, but
dude, there's a lot of professional breweries out there right now that are turning around lagers in 12 days too. Like, it's just
you kind of have to like
right.
especially if you're maybe like a 3-barrel brewer and you have like 4 fermenters or something like that, like you don't have the space to have like a lager sit in like one of those tanks for like 2 months. Like you just can't do it.
No, it's not. It's just too much drain on the equipment and the time, and you got to turn around and get that shit served. So
I like mine more fresh. I can't say that I've bottled a Oktoberfest or Festbier or something like that and stuck it in the fridge and came back to it 2 months later and was like, yeah, like that's what this shit's about. Like like drink that shit fresh. I think that lagering of times past. again, it goes back to like scientifically speaking, undoubtedly things happen, right? Like if you let things sit, it'll oxygenate or oxidize. It'll, change a little bit. Flavors balance a little more. There's so many things that we don't understand about beer that happen that we don't even have like names for probably.
Right.
But
what are we talking about now? So I had to go get a
lagering still, just like, whether it's worth it on a homebrew scale or not, or any scale really. And I'm sort of the, of the camp where keg it up and drink it, and like Brandon said, they can lager while I drink it. Yeah. So.
Yep. Well, I mean, you think about it with like the way a lot of these processes were developed, back in the day. It wasn't like lagering was developed because they wanted that,
Right.
cleaner beer or anything. They had to brew it and then store it so it was cold, so it wasn't, it wouldn't spoil, to be, drank over the winter months when they couldn't brew. So, it's not like they were trying to go for an end game. It was just kind of an accidental. So if we can produce the same product without following, specifically the same processes that they did when the product was developed, like, why not?
Yep. 100% with you. And for those listening to the podcast, I know you can't see the link in chat. I'm gonna do this.
Do we have a repository
notes
where we can dump these recipes?
So what we kind of do in the Keepers of Craft website,
dude, there you go.
I may have created, a recipe database there. So,
but as much as we are all keepers, and I do love keepers, and I'm just trying to lead into what we talked about earlier. Wouldn't it be grand, man, if we had a Michigan Brews website?
So it just so happens that we were talking about that earlier today, and we have a website now. It's going to be, well, I didn't actually buy it. Well, shit, I can't. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I don't want somebody to watch this show and go to fucking like GoDaddy and be like, I own your domain now.
Some asshole once did that to me with jasonnist.com.
That's true. That wasn't that on air or something? Was that on one of these?
It was on air. Or was it on a Keepers meeting? I don't know. I think it was on a show.
Yeah.
Maybe no, I think it was on a show, wasn't it?
I don't think so. No, I think this was before the show existed. jasonnist.com existed before Michigan Brews.
You're right. Yep.
Okay.
You're lucky Michigan Brews came into being after that shenanigan.
All right. So are we on to doing Festbier? I see we have a blank profile in front of us. So.
Well, it depends. Are we doing a traditional Festbier or is this like shrimp Festbier?
Dude, no, we don't. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Let's do cactus instead.
I'm gonna
feast beer, right? That's how
feast beer. We're putting roast beast in our feast beer.
Okay.
While you're doing that, I got a birthday present today.
What the hell are you like trying to knife over there, man?
Are you busting open some bourbon?
No, some whiskey.
Kind of. Okay.
Is it from Germany?
No. I got comes back to the knife again. No, so I got this in the mail today. This is a birthday present. It's a blended whiskey that was aged in brandy barrels while being played Metallica. They literally aged this whiskey while the barrels were jamming out to the Black Album.
I was just gonna ask, tell me it was the Black Album.
Like the Black Album was on repeat the entire time they were aging.
The entire time they were aging this whiskey was sonically treated
Oh my God.
I mean, that's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
It's called Blackened. I'm not bullshitting you. Here's a little card on it. Let me see.
It is the best album choice, Brandon. Thank you.
So there's the focus. Masterful collaboration between whiskey and Metallica. Go look it up.
Okay.
All right.
Who's the originator? Whose whiskey is this though?
It's a blend
Of
straight whiskeys, in a blend of straight whiskeys finished in black brandy casks, while being sonically conditioned.
So black brandy a style, or did they paint the brandy kegs black?
Hold on, painting it black, a whole nother band.
Oh, in a dirt. Perfect.
Actually, it's quite delightful.
Does it taste like screaming?
The brandy notes really come through.
Okay.
No, it's actually, I want to say it's like the antithesis of the Black Album. Like,
it's very delightful and smooth.
Yeah, it's
kind of a little flowery.
It is. It's delightful and smooth. It's very delicate. It's if I was Metallica, I'd be pretty pissed off about this shit.
Right.
This isn't the angry whiskey I wanted.
I'm struggling to remember. I'm trying to like loop it into a Black song. All I can think of is Inner Sandman.
I was gonna say Sandman's on there.
Is that was off one? Okay.
Yeah, no, Sandman's on. Now I gotta look it up.
Was whiskey in a jar on there?
You're taking me back 20 years. Let's make a feast beer.
I need to find my. Okay, let's talk about it while I refill my mug here. So this thing can fit 2 beers. So obviously it has to have 2 beers go into it. So Festbier. What makes a Festbier different than a Oktoberfest? F-E-S-T.
Well, one I would say is color. So your Festbier is going to be pretty light gold and not have a whole lot of that orange or amber color to it.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to tie back to episode 19. But do we remember why Festbier exists now instead of the Marzens of I don't want to say times old, but
no, if I recall,
something the last like 20 years.
It's a and I think it was more than 20 years ago, but it doesn't have to do with a cost thing. Like Pilsner malt is just cheaper, and as the festivals grew in size, they needed. I'm just pulling off the top of my head. I'm not looking anything up. This might just be me making, shit up. But
no, you're fine. I did not go back and read on this. So I'm going by my memory. But my memory says that it more has to do with the popularity of Oktoberfest getting more and more crazy, and the taste buds of the attendees sort of.
Oh no, you're right.
Scaling towards lower ABV beers and probably wanting to serve beers that aren't going to get people quite as fucked up. I mean, the ABV goes down like probably a percent maybe.
I was gonna say it's coming back. It was right. So there's, and I'm pulling this out of my ass now, but there's like 6 primary companies that rotate through the ownership of Oktoberfest, and they started scaling it down, kind of sessioning that beer.
I think there's only 6 breweries that can make beers called Festbier.
That's right.
Within Oktoberfest.
You're going and you're pounding this shit. And it was a mix. It was cost. It was ABV. It was the length of the festival and the time. And it was just, it made more sense to brew a lighter, cheaper,
Yep.
lower ABV beer.
Whereas, so it like, pardon me, I guess historically maybe we'd have, something that's more golden amber colored on tap if you were, there 100 years ago or so. I'm just threw that time out of my fucking head, so whatever. But if you went there today, like if you were to go to Oktoberfest this next year, most of what you're going to find is the Festbier style, which is what we're going to be building a recipe for right here.
Yep. So, my mug is full. Let me. I have like a little bit left in the bottle here, so I just gotta, help the bottle out a little bit.
Yep.
I don't want it to go to my counter, anything but empty. Like, how dare I?
Yeah, can't waste an Oktoberfest, not one like Bell's.
All right. So, feast beer. God, we need exclamation marks because it's exciting.
Yeah.
It has to.
So we talked about Vienna and Munich 10 in the Oktoberfest, but Jordan said this needs to be a lighter beer. So probably not as much Munich, if any at all. But Pilsner is probably coming back into play here a little bit, right? I would think.
I would
so
say
maybe,
probably a majority.
Okay.
That's me though. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, but it
now,
still needs to have that.
I was gonna say, should we target that 4 to 5 range? Like, are we still gonna keep this at 6%?
So BJCP says between 5.8 and 6.3.
Well, fucking A.
I know. So, but I'm not opposed to lower.
I'd say we should, for the purpose of this, just kind of keep it pretty strictly BJCP. That way, anybody who's coming in and viewing our recipes, if they want to submit it, they can.
Yeah, because we're going to have a lot of credence built or credibility.
You said that, Jordan, and I totally went off topic. Yeah, we'll have a website soon, and I think that one of the things I want to do on the website is sort of bring the yeah, exactly. Thanks. What was the topic? I want to bring the recipes to the website and have them be searchable and yada yada. So I'll see what I can do about that.
Ultimately do tasting notes with our shrimp beer.
Exactly. I think we'll have blog posts with people that tried the shrimp beer and stuff like that too, and
perfect.
It'll be lots of tears and things like that. So we're really excited. We love tears. I'm sad that places like Brewtoad or sites like Brewtoad went out of business, or I don't even know if it was a business, but if anybody knows of a recipe repository that was like Brewtoad, where you can create groups and submit recipes to groups and stuff like that, and have it be and they can accept imports of beer XML files and stuff like that, definitely let me know. I don't know of anything that exists right now that's quite like that, and I don't really have it in me to build anything like that, and I probably can't financially support anything like that actually gets popular. Right. So yeah, let me know. I would love to take advantage of somebody else's hard work. But in the meantime, when we do have the website up and going, I will build something that is at the very least workable, and where you can download beer XML files, which can then be imported into Beersmith or Brewfather or most of the other really popular brewing softwares. And in fact, speaking of that, speaking of going off topic again, we will get back to feast beer, but I believe that within the last month, maybe it was just a bit longer ago, the very first standard for beer JSON came out. And so for those that like aren't familiar with like programming and beer creation tools and stuff like that, Beer XML was sort of the standard for a long time. It's what Beersmith here uses for like importing and exporting recipes. It was a common standard shared between a lot of different applications so that recipes could be sort of passed around. And XML has sort of gone out of style within the last, many years. JSON and a few other sort of like data organization, like file types and stuff like that have become much more popular. And so I believe that a lot of contributors finally got together and were like, yeah, this is how it needs to be. And Beer JSON is like a thing now, and it has a lot more features that Beer XML doesn't have in terms of like extra mash steps and potentially like extra ingredients and all sorts of like everything that you see on the screen right here. Not all of this was necessarily included in a Beer XML file, and much more of it may be included now in like a Beer JSON file.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so hopefully in the future, recipe imports and exports will be much more detailed. So we'll see. But yeah, feast. Let's go back to Feast beer.
Feast.
Pilsner malt. And then, do we still want some Vienna? Because I still think that maybe
I still think you need to. Yeah.
Yep. You need it.
Okay. Brandon linked a website, so we'll have to check out beercalc.org.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I remember him posting that a while ago. I'm so ingrained into Beersmith that
I'm with you. I did check out Brewfather for a while, and I couldn't get my profile to work the same as I could on Brewfather as I could on Beersmith. So my original gravities just wouldn't necessarily match up. Like the IBUs for my hops wouldn't necessarily match up, and like I feel like I have my equipment profile so customized and narrowed down on Beersmith that I can be okay with not having all the features that Brewfather offers, which are pretty awesome. Like if you have a like Play-Doh hydrometer, or I guess whatever they call them, but a Play-Doh, you can
refractometer.
Yeah,
talking about okay, yep.
What like the actual like or not Play-Doh? What's the thing that you? What's the hydrometer that you drop into your beer? Tilt. I'm sorry.
Oh, tilt. Okay. Yeah.
So like it has like tilt integration and stuff like that. And it has a lot of integration with like tools that have like these APIs and stuff like that. And it's web-based, so you don't need a separate app on your phone in order to use it. You just log into the website on your phone, and it's like a web app.
Nice.
So it's super cool. I just have not been able to get my profiles to match up and my recipes to match up one-to-one. And I'm so comfortable with the numbers that Beersmith gives me, and they hit so accurately. Like, my estimated final gravity is always within a point, typically of where I need to be and what it tells me I'm going to be at. That I just haven't been able to switch over, but 100% check it out. I love Beersmith. Brewfather's great. Like a lot of people swear by it, but
I think if you're in home brewing, right, and you spend the money that you spend into making good beer, the $30 or whatever that Beersmith costs, I feel is worth it. But
worth it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're dropping 50, 60 or more, especially if you get into fruit beers, it averages out, and just calculate it into your per bottle price, or don't tell your wife about it, whatever, or your husband.
Yep. Don't buy coffee for a month.
Yeah, Beersmith is. I consider Beersmith one of the kind of important tools to brewing. Just like, if I needed a new brew bucket or a new carboy,
100%.
So
100%. Brian, go ahead and throw it. We're going to use Bell's yeast again on this, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, hell yeah.
I was looking at our numbers down there, and they weren't looking. So we're our original gravity and our estimated ABV are a little are low.
I don't think we're done quite yet. Yeah, I was going to say we need to tweak those, but now the same thing goes back to we added melanoidin to get some of that more depth of character.
Just a quarter pound though. I mean, I would still add that in. That's for me though. Jason, I'm sorry if I interrupted.
I'm done with some melanoidin. What do you think, Jason?
Oh, I brought it up. So sure. Absolutely.
You would? Okay.
I would. I would put the same thing, 4 ounces in.
Yep. I kind of wanted to make these pretty much in line with one another as close as we can. Now we're still sitting a little. Yep. I was just gonna say bump that up to about 7.
I'll go 7 and 5.
Yeah, 7 and 5. We can make this one a little higher.
Maybe the other way around.
No, I was gonna say 7 on the Pilsner.
Yeah, oh, okay. Let me do. Are we assuming like another 148? Mash.
Yep. Okay. Same beer. We're just changing the malt profile a little bit.
It's an Oktoberfest, Wickland. It's a fast beast.
We're sitting a little high here.
Yep.
Do we want to try like 4.5 and 6.5?
Let's try. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah. Perfect. 6%. There you go.
So again, we're looking a little low on the OG, but that's because Bell's house yeast is super fermentable. So
well, thankfully, if you're brewing a BJCP beer, you're not judged off of your OG.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like where both of these are at. That color looks beautiful. It won't look even nearly that yellowish once it clears up a little bit. Yeah, that's one thing about like icon. So I'm using an icon pack for Beersmith, so this probably doesn't look like everybody's Beersmith icons.
I was gonna ask, that little stripe that comes down the side looks like you have bubbles in yours too.
Yeah. Somebody created a custom icon pack for Beersmith quite a while back, and I've been using that.
I didn't even know that existed. I'm gonna have to download that.
Yeah, they look slick. I'll hold on. Let me add that to my notes of things that I need to post after the show ends because I've been really bad about that. Custom Beersmith icons. So yeah, I think our OG is fine considering what we assume that the Bell's yeast is going to attenuate it to.
Yep.
So let's talk about bittering again. And I assume we're not going to do a decoction mash again. We're just doing single infusion.
Well, yep. Okay. We've got the melanoidin malt in there. So
okay.
We are the lazy bums. Thanks, Tim.
We are the lazy bums. So for the podcast listeners, right now we're sitting at 6.5 ounces of Pilsner, 4.5 ounces of Vienna.
4 pounds.
And what?
You said ounces. So 6.5 pounds of Pilsner, 4 pounds of Vienna, 4 ounces of melanoidin.
Yep.
And then 2 packs or 2 billion cells of Bell's house yeast.
Which should equate to 1 pack of the Omega.
Not that I don't always recommend starters, but and for lagers they often recommend closer to like 400 billion cells. But that's just if the temperature is going to be like a lot lower too. So I don't know. We still don't have all the deets on like how to use Bell's house yeast for like lagers. So I don't know.
Right. We're kind of shooting from the hip here. So on to bittering.
So we were thinking, I know we said Tettnang and Hallertau for the last one. I think Hallertau.
I would say
like
so.
You recommended, Jordan, is probably a good one. I don't know if I have a good perception of the difference between Hersbrucker and like Mittelfer, but
I've almost always, I think, used Hersbrucker, but that's just me. I think that's just because I liked it with to have a little extra fruitiness, which I think is what the profile says in there.
I feel like I feel like I've only ever used middle Frau.
Middle Frau. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Frau. I was trying to see real quick if there was a.
Thanks, Tim. He's got some 21% alpha acid tats that taste like onion. That gives me flashbacks to Beer Fest.
I was just scrolling through the Michigan hops, Great Lake hops to see if there was a noble kind of variety on, and it's not really looking like it. These look all kind of citrusy and.
But with middle Frau, I'm fine with that. That sounds good. A few recipes that I've looked up seem to all call for that. So
Throwing in random numbers just to see where it lets us on the ABV here. So
we should be right around like 20, if you will.
Ounce of Hallertau at 60 and an ounce at 15. So
yeah.
The software says about 4% for each of those with regards to alpha acid. So that should set us at about 2021 theoretical IBUs.
So to answer your question, Tim, we haven't. Oh, yeah, two of us clicking on it. We haven't quite decided yet. Now Jason and I don't use temp control.
What's that?
Yeah, so that's kind of just left up to, I guess, the brewer. Maybe one of these days we should just brew one of these beers with all three of us, and kind of analyze the differences between the three.
I think that the discussion was, Tim, like Bell's has sort of made a statement that unless the beer you're drinking is a Belgian beer, like a saison or a triple or a quad or something like that, that it probably uses Bell's house yeast. And it's such a broad statement that we're wondering, well, does that include their lagers too? Like, Oktoberfest. So we would assume it has to be because they have a lot of lagers. Lager the Lakes, they have Oktoberfest, and all the ones that they have just especially on tap and stuff like that. So I never thought about this before the show tonight, but I thought it would be cool to try. We looked it up, and I think that Bell's recommends the minimum temperature. Oh, I'm sorry, Imperial, maybe with a combination of Bell's, but they recommend the minimum temperature to ferment their yeast at 65 degrees. So, yeah, I don't know. And Brandon could be right. Maybe they said that, as far as ales go, unless, it's a saison, then, blah, 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 blah. But who knows? We can find confirmation. And if we do, we'll change these recipes. But I don't think that their house yeast makes a bad malt forward beer. And, if people are using 3470 at 30 or at 65 degrees, then maybe why not Bell's house yeast, especially for an Oktoberfest or a Festbier or something like that. So,
right.
I don't know. We're homebrewers. Let's experiment. I'm drinking their Oktoberfest right now, and I don't smell anything, particularly, I don't know, sulfury.
Not at all.
Or I don't know. And which sometimes I associate with, those styles of beers. But it's still a little light too. Which and a little dry, which I associate with, I don't know, maybe their yeast attenuates down so far, even at those lower temps, that it just sort of makes a really clean dry, lager-esque sort of beer. I don't know, man. Well, yeah, the lager finish is hard to describe. I totally get it. Like, if unless you're like brewing like a Czech Pils or something like that, which has like a very maybe like a distinct sort of thing going on. Yeah, I don't know. Go buy a Pilsner Urquell, then buy like a some sort of popular fest beer and set the two side by side, and there's a very distinct aroma between them. But
yeah,
where were we?
well, I think we're our recipe
We're pretty much done,
low.
I guess. Yeah.
They're pretty simple recipes. Yeah,
They are. They're not hard to make at all. There's no whirlpooling. There's no like super late additions or dry hopping or.
It's kind of what I like about brewing these, though, is that you get away from some of that complicated process, and it's just pretty much just straight ahead, and turns out to be a pretty damn good beer.
Yeah. I feel like if we're gonna start doing these recipe creation shows, we should space them out enough so that we can actually brew these and and drink them on air. So
I'm totally with you
to do this.
We'll have to plan these in advance. So if we want to do like an Oktoberfest, say in 2022, we should bye Brian. We should schedule in advance long enough to where you can do the recipe creation and then have it brewed, and then just kind of do one of our sit down bullshit episodes while we sit down and drink the beer that we brewed.
Homebrew review.
Yep on ourselves. Yeah.
So we should try to throw one of these on while we do the shrimp IPA, and maybe have a good beer to try that night too.
What, you think it's not going to be good?
I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess.
I will say, sans the shrimp and maybe the panko, I think we have a pretty damn good beer that recipe that we made up.
I think panko is a perfectly appropriate ingredient for beer. I mean, you're just talking about bread,
Yeah, it's just bread. Yeah.
When you get a chance, and even for those watching, Google toast beers.
I see. This is new to me.
So it's an older style. I want to say, I'm going to pull this out of my ass right now and say that it's kind of like a Depression era.
That would make sense.
But they used to make toast ales or beers made with bread. I had a friend of mine make one. It would use the old surplus bread and they would brew it into beer.
There's a Russian fermented beverage.
Kvass.
Yeah, that uses bread, and you basically just like add bread to water or whatever and ferment that shit.
Like rye bread.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so I'm not at all like I don't think the panko is the problem with that recipe. So
it's the shrimp. It's the shrimps. The little sea bugs.
It's the shrimp. You go back and watch Forrest Gump as many times as you want. You'll never hear him list off shrimp beer.
But that movie came out in like the 90s, right? Like we're far more advanced these days. We have like New England IPAs and like fruited kettle sours and pastry stouts.
Somebody write Tom Hanks. We need to get a revision.
Shrimp beer is next.
Tell yourself whatever you want, buddy. All right. So we were talking about we're gonna brew this. We're gonna brew one of these or both of these in the shrimp beer. We're gonna come back later in the fall and do a homebrew review on ourselves. It's gonna be super cool.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we'll have the Rosses on to drink the coconut shrimp IPA.
So yeah, coconut IPA in itself actually sounds like it could turn out pretty damn well. For those who like coconut.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the flavor. I'm not okay with the texture. It's like
Well, hopefully the texture will not come through in the beer.
That's the goal. Should not be chunky.
But yeah, so we'll be back next week, Monday, with likely a just us sitting here excitedly talking about Homebrew Fest, right?
Probably.
More than likely.
Maybe a guest. I don't know. We'll see, man.
Maybe. We'll see. And then the following week, there's going to be some pop-up shows from Homebrew Fest, Internet Gods willing.
Probably Wednesday through Saturday, at least at some point in time. Yeah.
I definitely want to do like a tour of the bars, talk to some cool people. We'll try to stream some of the maybe the Michigan Beer Cup Awards. I think would be cool. So we'll do some fun shit there. In fact, I'm going to reach out to Nikki and see if we can do that officially. That might be cool. What else?
I'm not going to say it. I have ideas, so.
As always,
maybe we'll have some surprises. I don't want to put pressure on people, so.
If other people have ideas, please let us know. We'd love to hear them. And we're gonna. I'm all consumed with work and Homebrew Fest right now. That's my life. Long work hours and getting ready for Homebrew Fest.
If you guys don't listen to Michigan Beer Pursuit, go check out their podcast. I think they're going to start doing live shows at some point in time too. But I've been listening to those guys. I sent them a message actually, I think a week ago ish now. And yeah, we're going to try to get them out to like the Michigan Homebrew Festival. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it out this year. It turns out they only heard about it, in the last, 3 weeks or so. Right. Which is why we need to do our job more and spread the gospel. So yeah, we obviously didn't do our job well enough, but we're working on it.
It's okay. Our audience isn't big enough.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to those guys. They seem real cool. Yeah.
We've got more homebrew clubs. We've got more competitions. We've definitely got more breweries. I know we've been out. Maybe we'll hook up with somebody from Shorts. Maybe we'll have. I think we talked to HandMap this weekend, or Brian's talked to HandMap over the last couple of weeks. So we're working on other breweries to learn their stories, and we need to have some more homebrewers on and do some fun shit with them. So
we just had a random homebrewer on in like the longest time just to like chat or whatever. So
let's get a homebrewer on who's going to be at home for Homebrew Fest next week for to help us hype up Homebrew Fest.
Or a couple.
Or a few. Shit, make it a party.
If you guys want to be on the show next week, let us know. Shoot us a message, comment on the show or something here now, and
come express your excitement for.
We can have up to 10 people, I think, on the show.
Shit! There we go.
So yeah.
Right. Thanks again for hanging out with us and helping us entertain ourselves on Monday nights. It's been really fun. So yeah, we're gonna brew some of this beer, and we appreciate you guys and love. And yeah, anything else?
I think that's it for the good.
All right. Well,
all right. Cheers, everyone. Do we know how to do our outro these days?
I think so.
All right.